Hey, what's up, guys? It's the Film Geek here, and now it's time for this week's stack. First up, I saw 1934's It Happened One Night. It was the Oscar winner for Best Picture back in 1934, and I think it could win Best Picture nowadays. This movie was absolutely amazing. It was funny to the point where I was laughing out loud multiple times throughout the film. It had some nice drama, a nice little romance story. There was a scene where there was some singing and dancing on a bus. Great acting, great just everything. I give It Happened One Night a perfect 5 out of 5, and I think it might very possibly be one of my favorite movies now. It was absolutely brilliant. Next up, I saw the web series Dr. Horrible's Sing-Along Blog, starring Nathan Fillion, Felicia Day, and Neil Patrick Harris. And this web series was made by Joss Whedon, so already I knew it was going to be brilliant, and I was right. The singing in some spots isn't all that good, but it's very clever, and the story to it is a very cool one, where you get, the super villain who falls in love with a normal girl and is trying to stop the good guy who ends up being a total pompous ass. And the movie's just, or the web series is absolutely awesome. You can check it out on Netflix. It's only about 45 minutes for all the episodes combined. It's very cool, very, very well acted, very great scenery and cinematography, and I give Dr. Horrible's Sing-Along Blog a 5 out of 5. On the other side of things, I also saw the first season of The Guild. I've heard many, many good things about The Guild, but I was pretty much doing what I just did, the yawning, the entire way through. I was completely uninterested in The Guild. I did not find it funny. I think I might have, cracked a smile at, a couple of the jokes, but I didn't really laugh. I thought it was poorly acted. I thought the production value was shit. I could not connect with any of the characters because, frankly, I make fun of people who play WoW because I think it's absolutely ridiculous, and this web series was pretty much just as ridiculous. Granted, I only saw the first season, and there are several seasons out, but I hated this first season so much that I'm not even going to bother with any of the others. I give... See, I'm yawning just thinking about how boring I thought The Guild was, and so I give it a 1 out of 5. Next up, I saw 1954's Best Picture winner, On the Waterfront, starring Marlon Brando. I was hoping for really good things from this because it's Brando. Maybe I shouldn't have. Brando was the best part of the movie, and even he felt like kind of middle of the road to me. This movie was pretty boring. It was because of how slowly paced it was. The story, if you haven't heard of this movie before, Marlon Brando plays a former boxer who now kind of works for the mafia. And he tries to, at the very, very, very beginning of the movie, the very first scene of the movie, he ends up being, helping the mob inadvertently kill someone, and then spends the rest of the movie trying to make amends, basically, and it's just not a very interesting story. Maybe it would be if you are really into mobster movies where there isn't any action of any kind. It's all talk, and I was bored, and so I give On the Waterfront a 2 out of 5. Next up, I saw Grand Hotel, which was the 1932 Oscar winner for Best Picture, and it also kind of bored me. Its story was a little more interesting because there was more back and forth and more branches to the story. You had all these characters that did not know each other beforehand, but throughout the movie, their individual stories mingle much more closely together to become one cohesive story, which I thought the story was pretty good. But again, slowly paced. I felt like they could have. It was a pretty long movie. I think it was about 2 hours long. I think they could have cut it down to about 90 minutes, especially seeing that it was 1932. They should have cut it down to only 90 minutes and had less stuff to shoot. I give Grand Hotel a 2.5 out of 5. And finally, I saw Taxi Driver, and this one is another movie that I've heard many great things about. Almost everyone I know loves Taxi Driver, which is why probably I'm going to get a whole lot of hate mail based on this review, because I did not like Taxi Driver all that much. I will give it credit where credit is due. The acting was really damn good, but a movie is not just about acting. I thought the pacing was dreadfully slow. I thought that the character arc of Travis which is played by Robert De Niro, a very young Robert De Niro. I thought his character arc was ridiculous. How quickly they pulled the switch from regular Joe Schmo trying to make it to psychotic motherfucker. I thought Jodie Foster's character of the 12-and-a-half-year-old whore was a pretty good character, but they didn't use her until like the last part of the movie. I thought she was somebody that I thought her story, like the interaction between her and Travis, was far more compelling than the interaction between Travis and Betty. And then I thought the ending of this movie was absolutely terrible. I thought they should have. Well, I won't. For those of you who want to see it still, I won't tell what the ending is. But I feel like they had a really great ending, and then tacked on a happy ending. And I've seen people explain to me why it's not really a happy ending and why it's more of a psychotic ending, but I don't buy it. Personally, I feel like it was tacked on so that it wouldn't end the way that it ended, because people don't want to see it end that way back then. But I did, and I thought it would have been perfect if it had ended the way it does before the final scene. Really good acting, but terrible pacing, terrible character arc, terrible ending. I give Taxi Driver a 2.5 out of 5. And that's my stack for this week. Let the games begin. And by games, I mean the hatred on me for not liking Taxi Driver.